Jogging and cardio are crap for losing weight. Don't do cardio. It's a waste of time. Cardio just makes you fat. Cardio makes you lose all your muscle. But nothing could be further from the truth. You usually hear these and similar statements from people in the fitness industry who have an interest in getting you into the gym and selling their cheap junk plans at exaggerated prices. These superficial people have nothing to do with health and sustainable real fitness and well-being. They can't even walk up a few stairs without being out of breath. So, can they really call themselves fit? Their only goal is to achieve a certain superficial look as quickly as possible. In this video, you will learn why Zone 2 running specifically improves your fat metabolism, how fat is really burned, and what role your breathing plays in that process. But first, follow for more. Let's start casually with the basics. How the body produces energy. This is a very rough and short explanation of energy supply, but it's enough for this video. The body can produce energy from carbohydrates, fats, and in emergencies, protein. There are two main types: aerobic energy production with oxygen and anaerobic energy production without oxygen during very intense effort. Fat energy production is an aerobic process. Fat is used most efficiently when enough oxygen is available. The better your body can work with oxygen, the more efficiently it can convert fat. How is fat actually broken down, and how does it leave the body? Pause the video right here and write in the comments through which channel fat mostly leaves the body. All right, let's move on. Body fat, triglycerides, is split into glycerol and fatty acids. The fatty acids are then oxidized in the mitochondria of the cells. This creates energy, ATP, water via urine and sweat, carbon dioxide, CO2. So, yes, that's right, fat is breathed out. Fat leaves the body mainly through breathing in the form of exhaled CO2. So the rule is more breathing equals more CO2 equals more fat loss, but only if the energy comes from fat. But why do you breathe out fat? Fat burning, the physical exit is the lungs. If you lose 10 kilograms of fat, most of it leaves the body as carbon dioxide, like I said, through your lungs. Studies show over 80% of burnt fat is exhaled. An example, palmitic acid, a fat molecule, plus oxygen becomes 16 CO2 plus 16 H2O plus energy. The CO2 is exhaled, and that's how you lose the fat. Breathing is a mirror of your energy use. The more efficiently your body takes in oxygen, the more fat you can mobilize. And that's exactly where cardio training in Zone 2 comes into play. Jogging in Zone 2 increases breathing volume and frequency in a controlled way, perfect for fat burning. What is Zone 2 training, and why is it so effective? During Zone 2 training, heart rate is about 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. A simple test, you can still talk, but you're slightly out of breath. That's a talk test. You can use easy, steady jogging, brisk walking, or cycling. Why is Zone 2 so good for fat metabolism? The body is in an optimal range to primarily use fat as an energy source. The number and efficiency of mitochondria increases, which leads to more power plants, more fat burning. The enzymes that break down and process fats become more active. Capillarization, blood supply to the muscles, improves. Better oxygen transport. With regular Zone 2 training, your body programs itself in the long term to burn more fat during movement. even at rest. Zone 2 training is not just a fat burning method, but one of the most effective actions for long term health, fitness, and longevity. Here's an overview of what else you get. Strengthens cardiovascular health, promotes mental health and stress relief, improves mitochondrial function, better oxygen use and breathing. You will live longer, improve your life quality, and reduce risk of all major diseases. Okay, nice. So is jogging until you drop in cardio training the only and most important and best thing for weight loss? Should you only do cardio until you collapse? Of course not. But no one said that. Cardio training, however, can be a targeted and powerful weapon to lose fat, get fitter and healthier. And it makes sense. Just look at long distance runners. All are very lean. Why? Among other reasons, because their sport requires a lot of energy and they get it not only from food, but also from body substrates like fat, carbs, and proteins. They burn more mass than they consume. Simple principle. So, how can cardio not be good for weight loss? Extreme cardio, however, is just as unhealthy as extreme weightlifting for muscle gain. And of course, there are other important factors for losing weight. The combination of factors creates the full picture. A central factor besides movement and training is food deficit. But don't overdo it with that. Still, this alone is not enough if you want to get healthier and fitter. Why? Here are some key reasons. The body adapts to the deficit, metabolic adaptation. When you eat less, your body reacts as if a famine is starting. Your metabolism slows down. You burn fewer food substrates at rest. NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, drops. You unconsciously move less, e.g., less gesturing, less spontaneous activity. The body tries to save energy. You get cold faster, more tired, more sluggish. Result, the original deficit effect decreases. Weight loss slows down, even though you keep eating less. Eating less equals often also moving less. It's a vicious cycle. People who eat very little often have less energy, less desire for movement, training, activity, more hunger. Eventually, the will breaks down, leading to binge eating. Without movement, energy production drops even further. Fat burning is not specifically trained. Muscle is lost, lower basal metabolic rate. Movement, cardio, and strength training protects you from muscle loss and helps use fat as an energy source. Only with movement you train your fat metabolism. A deficit forces the body to access reserves. But which ones? Without training, muscle mass is often lost instead of fat. Skinny fat body type. With regular zone 2 training, you specifically train mitochondria that can burn fat. The body learns to prefer fat over sugar during movement. And that takes training, not just a deficit. Hormonal balance and hunger regulation need movement. Eating less alone often disrupts hormonal balance. Leptin drops, signal I'm full, leads to you feel more hungry. Ghrelin rises, signal I'm hungry, leads to constantly feel hungry. Cortisol rises, especially with crash diets, leads to increased fat storage, especially belly fat. Insulin levels often stay high without training, inhibits fat burning. Movement, especially moderate endurance training, lowers insulin levels and helps balance hormones, essential for fat loss. Sustainability and mental health. Only reducing food intake lacks the active success experience. Movement motivates, makes you proud, releases dopamine. You become dependent on constant food counting, not a sustainable lifestyle. High risk of relapse after the diet, yo yo effect, because there were no structural changes in behavior, metabolism, and movement habits. Movement provides mental stability, reduces stress, controls appetite, and helps you connect with your body instead of just fighting it. It's simple. To get the most out of your cardio training for fat loss, do the following: 2 times per week, 30 to 60 minutes of zone 2 training. Frequency depends on your level and how much time you have for exercise. If you're more advanced, you can consider cardio training in other zones to improve even more and become healthier. But here it's purely about fat loss and beginners. By the way, beginners who have nothing to do with jogging, skip the jogging. Find better options like cycling. I'll make a separate video on that. You can use a heart rate monitor, but you don't have to. Use this formula. It's very inaccurate since your max heart rate is very individual. I recommend using the talk test. If you can still speak short sentences, if you can breathe through your nose, both are good signs for zone 2. Complement your training with slight reduction in food intake, maybe 10% less. Lots of protein, 1.5 to 2 grams of kilogram lean body mass, strength training 3 times a week to maintain and build muscle. Yes, it's possible to build muscle in a deficit. And it's also the best approach. Why? That's for another video. And that's it. You learned something again. You're welcome. See you in the next video. And now, follow for more.